Good evening, race fans, and welcome to round number 8 of the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. We are here today at Milwaukee Mile for 12-lap heat races that we're going to see here today. Only one, according to the number of drivers that we have here presently in the field, and followed by a 50-lap feature. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight, 1080p, 60 frames a second. I hope you all are excited and ready for the action that we have here today as drivers begin their qualifying runs here and get themselves out on track and ready for today's event. We've already got Brett Hahn and a few other drivers making their way out on track and completing their first laps here today for their qualifying runs leading into the heat race that we will see amongst the 13 drivers present for today's race. And already on the left-hand side of your screen, we can see some of the drivers starting to click off some of their times here, and already starting to see a little bit of scattered sort of paces here throughout the race. I was here with the drivers during practice a little bit before we got into the broadcast, and I gotta say, Milwaukee, definitely a tricky oval that we have here. Both, all of the turns, really. You know, they're very long, very exaggerated, and it's very easy, it seems like, to get these cars unsettled and into a spot that you don't necessarily want to find yourself in, as already we're seeing the majority of the field completing their lap times, or their qualifying laps here today, given that they only have 2, which is given pretty standard amongst most race series. So, given that these drivers only have these 2 times to rip it around the track and give themselves the best time that they possibly can, especially coming here to a track like Milwaukee, where you can see it right here. This is a perfect camera angle of what we're about to talk about here. It's a very flat track that we have here. There is only a very subtle amount of banking that you can see there going in through. That's turns 2 that you can see there just a moment ago. But with that in mind, this is going to be quite some interesting racing that we're going to be seeing amongst the field, given just how much control that you have to have over your car to be able to stay competitive in a race like this. But the checkered flag is going to be waved a little bit earlier this time around for our qualifying sessions, and drivers are now going to quickly head on to the racing grid and get started for our first and only heat race of the night here. Starting off in the first row, Matthew Catania in the 318, starting off in first place in the inside lane here. Austin Nielsen on the outside of row 1 in the 52 car. Charles Darling on the inside of row 2 with the 88 machine. Nathan Henry on the outside with the 59 car. Ron Hart on the inside of row 3 in the 05-1. David Payton on the outside in the 38. Hayden Swank in 7th place. Brian Hacker in 8th place. Actually, let me just back up a second. Brian Hacker. That has got to be the coolest name I've ever heard in my time broadcasting here. Brian Hacker. That's absolutely awesome. Anyway, Brett Hahn, Brett the Jet, after taking a win last week, is going to be starting off in 9th place here at close to the tail end of our heat race here today, with Andrew Bain starting off in 10th place, Brian Wilderson in 11th, Billy Thomas going to be in 12th place. And as we move on down the grid here, Tanner Tallarico, again, making his usual appearance in the grid. He's not going to be in the race officially, but will be overseeing the happenings of the race from the race control booth, with Steve Pugh taking the 14th place spot here in the 156 machine. That's going to be rounding out our field here and getting ourselves set up and ready to go for what is going to be 12 laps around Milwaukee for our qualifying run here today. Or excuse me, our heat race here today, not a qualifying. We've already did qualifying. Alrighty, folks. So, as drivers make their way through turns 3 and 4, the lights are off on the pace truck. Once we come out of turn 4, the pace truck will make its quick dive down into pit road. The marshal will have the green flag in hand. There the pace truck goes. Green flag is out, and away we go here for the first laps here at Milwaukee Mile with American Sim Racing Club. Matthew Catania off to an incredible start here. Drivers going 2 wide, looks like 3 deep here as we work our way out of turn 2, down the back straightaway. Charles Darling that we're locked on here with, currently sitting in 3rd place. A little bit of scuffling happening just behind him through the midfield. The first lap here at Milwaukee. Ooh, coming out of turn 4, things getting a little bit of scuffling happening between Ron Hart, the 051 car, as well as the 38 of David Payton. Keeping things steady in green here. Look at the, whoa, Austin Nielsen, the number 52 car. Not exactly certain what happened there. Coming out of turn 2, he had to fall way down to the bottom of the track and is now dropping like an anchor to the back of the field here, trying to hold on to 9th place now, currently ripping his way across the checkered line, going to work his way back into turn 1, see if he can try and regain some of that loss here. Ron Hart in the 051 car starting to get a little bit of pressure from behind from Nathan Henry. Matthew Catania, Charles Darling, meanwhile, 1st and 2nd place between these two drivers, and not a whole lot of competition to be seen behind them. Ooh, Charles Darling, though. Ron Hart, I mean. Looked like he was sideways there coming out of turn 4. Keeping it together, staying very smooth here. 9 laps left to go. Oh, man, a little bit of shakiness happening from the midfield here. The 38 car, David Payton, getting a little unsettled out of turn 2. That's going to allow Brett the Jet Hahn and now Nathan Henry in the 59 car to duke it out side by side here. Battling for 5th place. Bobbing and weaving down the front straightaway, getting ready for turn 1. Now that we've taken a couple laps here already, you can see just how far spread apart these drivers start to get once things start to settle out here. And while we have a little bit of time, I'm going to point this out here before we get into the feature race. It was brought to my attention, not specifically, but I overheard it during the drivers' meeting, that if the field sees that, 25 laps into the race of the 50-lap feature that we have here tonight, if the racing is green all the way through up until that 25-lap point, race control is pretty much expecting this field here to be pretty well spread out amongst themselves. So what they plan to do is have what's called, if you don't know what it is a competition yellow. What that is, for those of you that may not know what that is, it is basically a way to kind of rack them and stack them again, get the field lined back up behind the pace car to basically bring the action back out, give the drivers another opportunity that may not have had a chance to work their way through the field. Sometimes that's all it takes, is allowing someone, a driver specifically, maybe not even specifically, but just drivers in general, a chance to have another stab at possibly taking a position, possibly getting themselves into the lead here. It's all just a matter of how that can be applied into the race. And a competition yellow is a great way to do that. Some drivers not exactly the biggest fans of competition yellows. Again, if you're a driver that's in the top 3, for example, and you have that yellow come halfway through the race, you might not be too fond of that idea. But if you're a driver that's sitting midfield or, duking it out here and there with drivers around you, or just maybe you're in your lonesome and you just want to have another driver to battle with, it's a perfect way to do that. Now again, some drivers might like it, some drivers might hate it. Really just depends on who you talk to. And really depends on what kind of race they're having, to be completely honest. So let's kind of run through here what's going on with 3 laps left to go here in today's heat race. Matthew Catania, absolutely incredible domination here that we're seeing out of the 318 car. And nearly almost over a second and a quarter between himself and Charles Darling. That is just an incredible lead to have here in an only 12-lap heat race. Incredible. Charles Darling, meanwhile, as we come out of turn 4, and once Matthew Catania crosses the checkered line, the white flag will be flown here. And there it goes, the final lap showing on the top left side of your screen. This is going to be the final chance that drivers have to work their way through the field, get themselves up any positions that they might possibly be able to here. And right now it seems like, I don't know, Matthew Catania doesn't really have much to worry about as he comes through turn 3 and out of turn 4. And kind of looking through the midfield and on back. Well, not necessarily the midfield, but just looking through the field in general. Not a whole lot of beating and banging, not a whole lot of drivers on each other's bumpers here as we cross the checkered line. And that'll bring the end of our first and only heat race of the night. And so here we're going to have a look at our heat results. Matthew Catania taking home first for that. Charles Darling in second, Ron Hart in third, Brett Hahn in fourth, and Brian Hacker in fifth place here for that heat race. So Brett Hahn, after coming away with a win last week and putting himself up into fourth place for the start of the feature, I mean, folks, if you haven't been tuning in and watching the American Sim Racing Club, either the Super Late Model Touring Series or the Mountain Dew Modified Tour that we covered, I believe it was earlier this year. I'm getting all my dates mixed up now. Anyhow, point being, you will know that Brett is quite the driver here in this series. He has shown time and time again that he has what it takes to be able to work his way through the field regardless of where he's at, and put himself back up there on the podium. Whether or not it's a win for him, sometimes that's not always the case, but, every time that we see, Brett Hahn up here, he's always saying, man, I that's always my goal, is I want to be up here in the booth. I want to be talking to you by the end of the night, and that's ultimately the goal for the 71 machine, is just come across that checkered line victorious. And I got to respect that. So, as drivers have a little bit of time here to get themselves warmed up, ready to go, get themselves, well, as prepared as much as they possibly can here for the 50 laps that we're going to see here at Milwaukee. Now, again, if you weren't here just a little bit ago or just now tuning in, first of all, welcome. Thank you for tuning in and joining us here for the American Super... Let me try that again. The American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. There we go. That was better. Anyway, I already lost my train of thought. I got myself all mixed up, and now I'm all over the place. Anywho, this has been quite the series to witness thus far. These drivers have all put on phenomenal shows week in, week out, and I think tonight, even having a slightly smaller field than what this league is typically used to, I'd say, these drivers are all going to put on the best show that they possibly can. And, yeah, there we go. I knew I was going to get back to the point I was looking for. With the expected kind of competition caution midway through the race, that is only if we don't see a caution before that point. So if there's any sort of caution that happens before that 25-lap mark, there will not be a competition caution. So let's just make that clear. If the field gets stacked up any time before that, the competition yellow will be thrown out the window. That will not be in effect. But if we do stay green up until lap 25, we'll see that caution come out. The field will get themselves stacked back up behind the pace truck here at Milwaukee Mile, And give drive. Ooh, wow. Right as I tuned away from that, Billy Thomas with an epic slide coming out of turn 4. Folks, that is a really, really great example. You can even see Hayden Swank getting a little spicy there for a moment. It's a great example of just how flat and how difficult this track can really be. I mean, any flat oval track that you go to, whether it's in an ARCA, whether it's a next gen, a modified, it's going to be tough. It is absolutely grueling trying to keep these cars stable and straight on the racetrack. It can be quite the challenge, and these drivers definitely make it look easy, even with the mistakes that they make. You know, it's truly phenomenal what these drivers do on a weekly basis. So, with that out of the way here, folks, we're going to go ahead, step away from the booth here for just a moment. We're going to take a commercial break, and then when we come back, we will bring you the starting grid of our feature race here tonight at Milwaukee, and then we will begin our coverage of the feature race here, 50 laps with American Sim Racing Club for the Super Late Model Touring Series. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Alrighty, folks, welcome back. And while we were away there, SDK, wow, that was a voice crack. Anyway, SDK decided that it wanted to take a nap, so we had to revive it real quick. So anyway, anyhow, we're back here, and we have our starting grid up and ready for us. Matthew Catania taking first place here with a 318 car. Charles Darling in the number 88 taking second place. Ron Hart third place with the 051 machine. Brett Hahn in the 71 car taking fourth place. Brian Hacker in fifth. Hayden Swank in sixth place. Andrew Payne in seventh. Austin Nielsen in eighth place. David Payton in ninth. Nathan Henry in 10th. Brian Wildison in 11th. Billy Thomas going to be in 12th place here tonight. And last and certainly not least is Steve Pugh, going to technically be in 13th here tonight, rounding out our field. And it looks like the lights are off on the pace truck, so we will be going to green here as we come out of turn 4. Pace truck gonna make that quick dive down into pit lane. There it goes. The green flag is waved, and away we go. Matthew Catania with the same start that we've seen him pull off for his heat race here tonight, and he is doing a phenomenal job this time around trying to pull off that same gap that we saw for that 12-lap heat race. And away we go down the back straightaway. A couple drivers getting side by side here, just depending on where you're looking through the field. Here you're getting an in-car camera view of Billy Thomas on the right-hand side of your, bottom right-hand side of your screen. Billy Thomas following along, following just behind, you see Brett Hahn just ahead of him. Here is Charles Darling as well as Andrew Payne going to go side by side through turns 3 and 4. Andrew Payne able to keep it out just enough ahead of Charles Darling this time around. It's majority of our field here staying single file here for the early stage of this race. And I think, you know, knowing that a lot of these drivers are aware, well, all of the drivers are aware that there will be, if there isn't a caution beforehand, there will be a stage caution. So I'm assuming that a lot of these drivers might be kind of playing it safe, taking it a little bit easy, not wanting to take too many risky moves here before that happens. And right now we're on lap 4 of 50. And so far, I think that's exactly what we're going to see out of this field, is just taking it mostly easy, not really trying anything too daring in this stage of the race. You want to stay pretty calm, pretty steady. Here's, we're looking at the tail end of the field here with Billy Thomas, that number 9 machine. This kind of gives us a real, ooh, look at that dive here from Brett Hahn to the inside of David Payton. You know, I'm not sure where, oh, you know what? Okay, I completely had an oversight here. Brett Hahn did have to start at the tail end of the field here for the feature race. I completely forgot about that because of the shotgun rule, because he won last week's race. Brett Hahn is going to have to find himself working through this entire field, which, you know, again, I mentioned it before we even started the feature race here, that Brett Hahn is well known for being able to move his way through a field quickly and effectively. Here we're watching Andrew Payne right hot on the heels of the 011 of Brian Hacker, working their way through turn 1 and 2. We're going to ride on board here for just a moment with Andrew Payne. Just get a little bit of an idea here of what it's like. Let's actually have a listen to a lap around Milwaukee here with Andrew Payne. And you just saw Andrew Payne make some incredible, well, really, really great moves here on Brian Hacker. Down on the inside of the 011 car, he was able to make the pass up here going into 4th place. Lap 10 of 50. 1/5 of the way through this race here. And I gotta say, you know, with a track like Milwaukee and having as many drivers that we have right now, it's kind of surprising to see just how spread out these guys really get, you know, kind of early on in this race. And again, this could also be attributed to the fact that, you know, there's going to potentially be that competition caution midway through the race. And again, that's only if there is a caution before that point in the race. And right now, I don't want to jinx anything, but things are looking pretty stable at this point. And amongst the field, I mean, we're just seeing single file, just keeping it green, keeping it going. And that's just really, it's got to make me wonder what is going to happen here once we see that halfway point come around and get this field stacked back up. I mean, are we just going to see the aggression switch just kind of turned on for all these drivers? I don't know. We've got a lot of very talented drivers in this field here tonight. I mean, that, you know, every week we do, frankly, but here especially, I mean, just given the number of drivers that we have, there are a lot of strong drivers here in this race. And just with how the pace is moving right now, I mean, we're watching Brett Hahn make this really, really clean move here around Nathan Henry. Gave him plenty of room around the inside as well. So again, I mean, this is just showing just how easy these guys are taking it right now. No one's really pushing it this hard here in this early stage of the race, and I just gotta wonder if that's because of the fact they're aware that they are going to have to get stacked back up here before too long. But here looks like coming up ahead, Matthew Catania definitely starting to see a little bit of pressure from behind. You can see Ron Hart just sliding his way through turn 4. You can see that nose of that car just we'll watch here going through turns 1 and 2. Not quite as aggressive that time around, but you could definitely see some of these drivers pushing it going through these turns, trying to just shave off every 10th of a second that they possibly can to the driver ahead of them. And right now, Ron Hart is starting to do just that. You can even see Andrew Payne just behind them, right on the heels of Hayden Swank, trying to give him a little bit of pressure here as well. You can see the in-car camera of Andrew Payne's machine here on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And just looking at all the inputs that you can see from Andrew Payne, I mean, it just gives you an idea of what it's like to keep a car like this stable at Milwaukee. I mean, these guys are cranking on their wheels, just trying to keep these things straight. And it is a tough, tough challenge. Here's a little side-by-side view of kind of the same of what we were just seeing, but you can get a better idea of what Andrew Payne is doing there behind the 93 car. Here as we're kind of stepping around, looking and seeing what the rest of the field is up to here at this point, as we just crossed the line a little bit ago. That's going to bring us lap 20 of 50. Eric Hahn in the chat, the father of Brett the Jet Hahn here, cheering on his son, hoping that the number 71 car will come across the line victorious here tonight. And right now, I mean, you know, this whole field, I think right now is anticipate, well, they definitely got to be anticipating this competition yellow to be coming out here in just a few laps. Eric Hahn saying going to be tough tonight at such a big track. Got to be fast yet saving something. And yeah, I got to completely agree with you, Eric. You know, this track is it's one of those things where you can be extremely fast in the beginning. You can build up that gap. You can give yourself plenty of distance between yourself and the driver behind you or ahead of you, whatever the case scenario might be. But you are going to burn through those tires extremely fast. These flat tracks are very, very deceptive with tire wear. I mean, it's extremely tough to save tires at a track like this. I mean, you're going to be burning up those right sides almost, I would say, you're probably going to be halfway through that tread. I mean, probably a quarter of the way through the, well, not a quarter of the way, about halfway through this race in particular, which we're about on lap 25. And for a lot of these drivers that have been really pushing, especially drivers like Matthew Catania trying to hold on to the lead, I can only imagine what their tires might be looking like at this point in the race. And you could also kind of consider fuel in that matter as well, but seeing that we don't do pit stops here, we don't see drivers coming down in pit road to get tires or fuel, not necessarily going to be an issue here. The only issue that you'd have with getting low on fuel is that you'd be faster and hoping and praying that you come across the line with enough fuel in the tank. There it is, folks. Right as we cross the line, the competition yellow is going to fly. And that will prompt the pace truck to come out here onto track and get these drivers stacked back up here for another attempt for any drivers here to get positions, put on some battles, and see what they can do here tonight at Milwaukee. And while they do that here, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll be back to green flag, or hopefully close to. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we'll be back for more iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, race fans, as we come out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. Lights are off on the pace truck as we are preparing ourselves to go back to green here after this short competition yellow to get the field stacked back up here and ready to go here for the final half of the 50-lap feature here at Milwaukee Mile for round number 8 of the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series. And here we go. The pace truck is about to make its dive down into pit lane, and we're going to be starting single file here this time around. The way the green flag is up, and down it goes. And Catania going to try and hold on to this lead as much as he possibly can, but now that the field has now got another opportunity to work themselves up some positions, let's see what some of these drivers have in store here. With 25 laps left to go. Going to be looking here real hard at Brett Hahn, the 71 machine, working down on the inside right now of Charles Darling. Through turns 1 and 2, Darling stuck on the outside. He's also got Austin Nielsen just behind him, having to slow up just a little bit to avoid collecting bumpers. And you can really see just how slow some of this field really has to get. Going through these turns, it's very easy to get these cars unsettled. Here, as we still have the in-car camera view of Andrew Payne's machine down on the bottom right-hand side of your screens. Some of these drivers getting themselves in their own little battles here, just like this one here towards the midfield. 10th place, Brian Wilderson, the 951 car. Just a little bit ago, he was getting a little bit of pressure from Nathan Henry, the 59 machine. Almost stacking his bumper right up to him. Here with 22 laps left to go. A lot of very calm, very steady racing at this moment. A lot of single file action. I mean, for the most part, no one's really... Oh man, just watching this front of the field is getting mighty, mighty tense too. You just saw Hayden Swank, and it looked like Ron Hart there possibly have a little bit of a wobble. But as we come back out of turn 2 down the back straightaway, we're settled back out here once again. And let's take a moment here. I want to ride on board here with Brett Hahn in the 71 machine, and let's have a couple laps here with Brett Hahn and see just how he is going to achieve working his way through this field here at Milwaukee Mile. You know, the one thing that I think Brett Hahn has down pat the most is patience. Being patient here in a race like this is critical. Absolutely critical. Oh man, that caught my attention there for the lead here. Ron Hart down on the inside of Matthew Catania, the 318 machine down the front straightaway we go. It's a battle for the lead here as we work our way through turn 1. Man, oh man, things are starting to get spicy up here with 16 laps left to go. Ron Hart able to take the lead here coming out of turn 4. He's up in front now. It's Hayden Swank, Matthew Catania side by side. They get a little door banging in. Heading into turn 1 here once again. Hayden Swank down on the inside of Matthew Catania. Oh no, there's a little bit of contact. Catania goes up on the inside. Up to the outside of turn 2. Down the back straightaway. He's going to fall back to 5th place here. Man, oh man, now Catania, Brett the Jet Hahn going to be side by side as they come out of turn 4. Down the front straightaway. Eric Hahn mentioning Ron the Hitman Hart, which gave me a little bit of a chuckle, Eric. I got to appreciate you for that one. That was a good one. $14 laps left to go. Things are looking single file here right now, but let's see exactly how long that's going to last. We've seen a lot of these drivers do a lot of, dives going into some of these turns here. Let's see if anyone is going to be bold. With 13 laps left to go, I mean, everyone is hugging that inside line. I mean, everyone knows that is the fastest line to be. That is where you want to be on track. Oh, a little bit of scuffling happening between Andrew Payne and Brian Hacker. Oh, man. Brian Hacker really trying to send it here on Andrew Payne in the 93 car. Laps to go, and man, this is going to get intense here, guys. Looking at this right now, I mean, we've got 5 drivers up here in the top 5 right now that I think are all just kind of setting each other up for something. I mean, Ron Hart definitely going to be in the catbird seat right now. Man, if I'm in that 051 machine right now, my eyes are going to be trying to do everything in their power to avoid looking at that rear view mirror. I mean, it's one of those things I'll say this, a beginning sim racer or even a professional race car driver, it's one of those things that you kind of find a little challenging sometimes, is not looking in that rear view and being like, oh crap, there's a guy literally right on my tail. Sometimes you got to be able to tune that out and just keep racing. That's the best thing that you can possibly do. I know that I find myself doing that from time to time, and doesn't always work out in my favor. But anyway, these drivers I don't think are going to be worrying about that really much at all, except maybe Ron Hart. Ooh-wee! We are getting spicy up here for the battle for the lead as Hayden Swank right hot on the heels of Ron Hart, the 051 machine, with 8 laps left to go. Down the back straightaway, it's now going to be, it looks like almost Andrew Payne and Hayden Swank there side by side. Hayden able to get out in front of the 93 machine. Falling back single file here as we work our way through turns 3 and 4, but look at just how close the top 5 is. Man, oh man. Everyone, all of these drivers here are just being so patient right now. Just waiting for an opportunity to arise ahead of them. And as we cross the line, that's 6 laps left to go. Heading into turn 3, Hayden Swank right on the bumper of Ron Hart here. Here's we're going to ride along on the roof camera of Brett Hahn here in the number 71 machine. with only 5 laps left to go. This is going to be intense. Oh, man, look at this. We're 2 wide just ahead of Brett Hahn for second place, it looks like, between Hayden Swank and Andrew Payne. A lot of shuffling happening up here towards the front of the field. Hayden Swank falls to the upper side of the track, going through turns 1 and 2. Brett Hahn down on the inside. Is he going to get the advantage here coming down the back straightaway? Into turn 3. He's still down on the inside line. It looks like he might have the advantage here coming out of turn 4. But Hayden's still right on the door of that 71 car. And now it's 3 laps left to go. This is where it's all going to matter, folks. And Ron Hart, currently leading this field, is doing a phenomenal job. Matthew Catania, after leading the field for so long, now finding himself in 6th place right behind Brett Hahn and Hayden Swank, who currently still duking it out side by side. There as we cross the line into turn 1, Brett able to take 4th place. Next time across the line, it's going to bring the white flag out, and this will be the final chance that any drivers have here. There it is. The white flag is flown. The final lap is here. Andrew Payne staying right, hot on the heels of Ron Hart. Coming down the back straightaway. Oh, Ron Hart, he's trying to break up that air behind him. He doesn't want Andrew Payne to take the advantage, but going through turn 4, it's Andrew Payne down on the inside. Ron Hart banging doors. They're coming down the front straightaway. Who's going to take the win? They're crashing across the line. Oh, woo-hoo-hoo. Eric, if you're still watching, Ron the Hitman Hart. That is a fitting nickname. Absolutely fitting. Wow. What a race. What a race and what a finish that we had here for the win. I mean, wow. I want to look at that again. That was awesome. All right, here we go. We're coming down to the back straight. There you see Ron Hart, Andrew Payne duck it way down to the bottom, getting into turn 3 here. There you see Andrew Payne sees this opportunity going into turn 4 down on the inside. They bang it a little bit. They're both going sideways. There's the next contact. Ron Hart goes a little sideways. Andrew Payne left nowhere to go but across the line. Man, Ron Hart taking home first. Andrew Payne in second. Brian Hacker in 3rd place. Wow. Wow. What a way to end the race here tonight at Milwaukee Mile. I gotta say, that was just absolutely fantastic for every single one of these drivers here involved, as we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves ready for our post-race interviews. Just give us one moment here. So, starting off first is going to be Brian Hacker, the number 011 machine. Brian here with probably the coolest name in the series. Brian, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your podium finish here, and I believe your first podium of the season. If I'm not mistaken, this might be your first race of the season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. Wednesday nights have just been tough. I've run this league a few times here and there, and saw tonight was at Milwaukee and figured why not.
Well, you put on a heck of a performance here tonight in the 011 car. I mean, you know, having the competition yellow come out halfway through the race and having just as small of a field that we have here tonight. I mean, that's not usually normal for ASRC, but given just how big the track is, I mean, what was kind of your expectations? You know, it sounds like you were pretty confident coming into tonight, given that you saw that we were running here at Milwaukee, and opted to join in with us. So, I mean, what was your expectations here at Milwaukee, and do you think that it met that or maybe possibly exceeded it?
Yeah, I didn't really know. Once the race got started, I knew it was going to be about tire conservation, so I tried to do that in the first stage before that competition caution. I didn't really want to give up too much in terms of tire wear, so I let some guys by me and just kind of hung out. Um, but yeah, it was a pretty good night overall.
I would have to say, I mean, taking home a podium after, really just a lot of kind of follow the leader, if you will, racing. I mean, it's tough coming to a flat track, and it, it it's tough racing all around. But I mean, you did a phenomenal job, and you put yourself up here into third, and kind of a last minute run here. Well, not last minute, but that final turn coming out of turn 4 for the checkered flag. I mean, both Ron Hart and Andrew Payne collecting into one another. I don't think any one of us expected that. But do you think you were possibly put in a pretty favorable position for that? Or, I mean, do you think it could have ended worse for yourself?
Definitely could have ended worse. Once we took the white flag and I wasn't right up on the 93, I figured probably my best bet at a win would be to maybe back off and see if they did get into each other. And sure enough, they did down the back straightaway. I was a little nervous because they were weaving back and forth. I didn't quite know where they were going to be on corner entry, and then they ended up pulling it together in turn 3, and then got together in the middle of turn 3 and 4. And luckily for them, they were able to keep it pointed straight, and they got back in the gas fast enough. I think we had a shot. I just, being my first race of the season, I know that these guys are pretty deep into it. The last thing I wanted to do was come in and wreck anyone. So I'm happy to finish third. It was a pretty fun race overall. No cautions there, which is not easy to do given the circumstances tonight and the track conditions. It was pretty slick out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think any flat track that we go to, it's always kind of tossed in the air as far as track conditions and just how the race is going to play out in general. But for you to come out here and, just have a good old time, pulling off a podium, it's got to be a great feeling. But before I let you go here, Brian, and celebrate, is there anyone watching the broadcast at home or in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank for your success here tonight?
I'll shout out Carbon Junction. They're on the side of the car. They've been on the side of the car for a while now. Same with Pathfinder Chassis, Narrative Coffee. Thanks to Tanner and Dave for having me in the league and letting me come join tonight as a kind of a one-off. And we'll see what the Wednesdays looking forward look like. Maybe we'll be able to get back out here.
Absolutely. Would love to see you back out here on track and see a lot more competition out there. It was great to see you out there tonight, putting on some pressure for the rest of our field here tonight. Brian, thank you for joining me here in the booth, and I look forward to seeing you in future races if you plan to attend them.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Have a great night.
You too.
All right, folks, that is Brian Hacker, the number 011 machine, out of the booth with the coolest name ever that I've ever heard. Taking third place here tonight for the Super Late Model Touring Series here at Milwaukee. Up next, the number 93 car of Andrew Payne. Taking home second place here tonight. Andrew, do you have a read, sir?
I have a copy.
Welcome to the booth, and congratulations on a podium here tonight. It was really quite the race that we had here tonight, Andrew, and frankly, I mean, you kind of found yourself starting midfield at the beginning of the race and just kind of looking at the lay of the land for tonight's race. I mean, there was only 13 drivers present. We were expecting a competition yellow to come out kind of midway through the race. I mean, what was kind of the mood, you think, for the field in that first half of the race, knowing amongst all of the drivers that there was going to be a competition yellow? I mean, it just seemed like everyone was just really taking it easy in that first half, and it seemed like that helped a lot of drivers, I think, in tonight's race.
Yeah, I know my mindset for that first half, and I'm sure that all the other drivers were very similar, where, just make it to lap 25 and not tear up anything, and, not burn up anything either. It was sort of kind of like, we had another heat race there with that first 25, and then we really got to show what we had there in the back half of the race. But yeah, it was majorly just taking care of stuff because there's no need to go out and wreck a bunch of cars or burn up your stuff when you know that you're going to be having a caution and the field's going to get bunched back up at some point, either from a natural caution or the competition caution. And yeah, there's just no need to go up and tear up anything. And I know I definitely spent the first half just kind of riding and setting myself up good for the second half, and sort of kind of worked out.
Well, it worked out pretty well in your favor, I think. And I mean, you were working your way up through the field pretty smoothly here towards pretty much in that last half of the race. I mean, we saw that 93 car just moving and grooving. I mean, honestly, it was a really good race, I think, for all of our drivers here tonight, given the circumstances. And I mean, I don't know, what do you think could have ended differently for you here tonight? I mean, we saw both yourself and Ron Hart kind of collide into one another coming out of turn 4. I mean, if you could turn back the clocks and you could do things differently, what do you think you would have done to maybe avoid that, or maybe come out on top here for tonight's race?
I mean, probably just not hit the curb in the middle of 3 and 4. I got a little bit too gung-ho there. You know, it was the first time I'd actually seen the light of day for the lead, and you know, it's how hard it is to pass. It took me 48 laps to get around Hayden, and you know, I was just sitting there and I saw the lead and I got super excited, and got in the gas a little bit too hard too early, and I had to get out of it. And I knew Ron was gonna have a run on the outside anyways, just because he had to check up so much and he could get through the back half of that corner a lot better than I could. And I mean, I did it to myself there. And I mean, it was, yeah, just the side of the lead coming to the checkered flag. I think I just got a little bit too excited too early, thinking that I had the thing in the bag, and sort of kind of botched it. But that was a great race there with everyone, Ron, Hayden, Brian, Brett, all of us, Matthew too. It was we were all nose to tail, and that was one of the most tiring races I've run in a long time.
I can only imagine. I mean, you know, these flat tracks are vicious, absolutely vicious. I mean, I say it all the time in the broadcast when we're here at these flat tracks. It's a true testament to a driver's skill. You know, anyone can go around, you know, an oval like Daytona or Talladega and, you know, go fast, but to be fast at a flat track here like Milwaukee, it's challenging, very challenging. And I think all of you drivers here tonight, every single one of you, did an incredible job of making it just look like a cakewalk. But Andrew, I mean, you've had quite some success here in the season thus far. We've seen you up here on the podium pretty often now, and you're having quite the season. I mean, going forward into the season, what are your expectations, and are you feeling pretty good? What's the momentum like here in that 93 car?
You know, rest of the season, you know, looking for the ultimate goal of, you know, the championship at the end of the season. I mean, a win here and there would be nice, but, you know, just finishing races, you know, the top 3 and the top 5 is really good. Like tonight, you know, I may not come out with a win, but, you know, there's a good shot of me having the points lead, or at least super close to, getting closer to Brett there after, you know, getting a good qualifying run and getting some, points in the heat, and getting a couple spots better. But you know, it's just finish races ultimately. That's the main goal. You know, a win and then DNFs aren't going to get you a championship, so it's just going to be, you know, try to be consistent the last 3 weeks, and you know, hope to end up out on top at the end of the season.
Absolutely. That's what I like to hear, Andrew. Well, I want to give you this time to give your shout outs. Thank anyone watching the broadcast at home or in your pit crew for your success here tonight. And yeah, floor is yours.
First and foremost, you know, thank you guys at Team Goon Squad and you, Mason, for broadcasting as always, and being on the car. You know, huge thanks to Hall Metal Fab, Citrusite Saw and Mower, QuickTime Motorsports Media, RogersCars.com, B&H Fresh, you know, my parents and grandparents, you know, the boys back at the shop, Golden. Quite the piece here for tonight and the rest of the season, and you know, thanks to all the other racers and fellow racers that you know, come out each every week and put on a good show, and the admins as well, Tanner, for putting on a good series, and yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Andrew, for joining me up here in the booth. Congratulations once again, taking home another podium for the season, and hopefully we get to see some similar success next week.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Alrighty, folks. Andrew Payne out of the booth here, taking home second place. Last, and certainly not going to be least here, Ron Hart, the 05-1 machine, coming home victorious. Ron, sir, do you have a read?
Yeah, hey, what's up, Mason?
Ron, how are you feeling right now? I'm sure that you've got to be feeling quite ecstatic after that. A little bit of a tense moment there coming across the checkered line.
Yeah, we'll take it. Did what we had to do to get the win tonight. Not my type of track at all, so a little bit surprised to be here for getting this win, but it feels good nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming home with a win regardless has always got to be a great feeling. And I mean, regardless of how you feel going into the race or how you feel during the race, I mean, sometimes a win's a win, right? But anyway, Ron, I mean, we saw you leading this field practically, oh gosh, what was it, like 25, 30 laps or so? I mean, you were leading for quite a while there, and once you made that pass, I believe it was around Matthew Catania, it was pretty much all she wrote there for the 05-1 car, and you were just gone and away with it. It seemed like no one was really able to make any sort of passes on you, and I mean, given that Milwaukee here, flat track, you really got to hug that inside line. You want to stay on that, as close to that yellow line as possible going through these turns to be able to stay as fast as possible. I mean, what do you think kind of helped you tonight in leading this field and coming across the line for the win?
Just good experience, man. I didn't have the fastest car there the last 15, 20 laps at all. Kind of used up too much right front tire, but with a track like this, you know, there's no top groove, so if you just get it down against the white lining and park it in the corner, slow it down as much as you need to, and make sure you don't give up the bottom and then get a good exit, it makes it really hard to pass. So won some races like that on here, won some races like that in the real car before, and was able to put that experience to work tonight to get another one.
Well, great to hear that you were able to use both real life and sim racing experience to pull off a win here tonight at Milwaukee. That's, you know, one of the beautiful things that I love about racing in general is that, you know, you get those collisions sometimes of the sim racing world and the real life racing world that just mesh together, and it's a beautiful combination. Anyway, Ron, you had a phenomenal run here tonight, phenomenal win. And I mean, what's that kind of giving you confidence-wise going forward into the rest of the season? I mean, you've been quite the competitor here in the series. I'm not exactly 100% certain on what the points are right now, but I know that yourself, Hayden Swank, Brett Hahn, Andrew Payne, I mean, all of you guys have been putting on an incredible season here thus far. I mean, what are you kind of feeling here with only three races left in the season?
Yeah, I think today was the first night of the playoffs, so it should put us good in the points. With 3 more to go, got to start last next week, but should have a good chance there. It sounds like it's a little track, kind of like tonight. I didn't make a lap here before 8:45 and worked out all right, so I'm sure it'll be the same boat next week at some little track at Irwindale. I've never raced before, but we'll try that out next week, start in the back, and see how many we can pass and how many laps they give us.
Absolutely. I love to hear it, Ron. You know, it's great to see all the different drivers that have been making an appearance here in the podium this season around. I mean, last season that we covered here with the Super Late Model series, it was a lot of Brett Hahn up here, and I love Brett Hahn. Brett Hahn's a great guy, but I love to see more competition here throughout the field, and it's great to have more drivers like yourself that, well, give us this opportunity to see the great racing that we see here week in and week out. But Ron, before I let you go here and celebrate your win here tonight, is there anyone watching the broadcast at home or in your pit crew that you want to shout out and thank for your win?
Yeah, just first thanks to the guys for running clean tonight. This is the kind of track, it's easy to drive in there and knock somebody out of the way, and we didn't do that up front, so that was fun. Parents are watching there, so hope they had a good time watching, get a win tonight. Look forward to go try a new track in the real car this weekend. We've never raced down in Springport, Michigan, so got a good couple days coming up.
Well, absolutely. I don't know if you're a native to the Mitten State, but I'll be glad to have you here. Even though I don't even know where you just mentioned is. But anyway, anyhow, I hope you have some good success there in your real life race, and hopefully get to see some more similar success here in the sim racing world with American Sim Racing Club.
All right, thanks, Mason.
Absolutely. Have a great night, Ron. Alrighty, folks. That is going to wrap up our post-race interviews with Ron Hart, the 05-1 machine, taking home the win here tonight at Milwaukee Mile. And that is going to wrap up our coverage here for the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Touring Series, round number 8. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight, 1080p, 60 frames a second. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Catch all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad 7 days a week. And again, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all next week, same time, same place, for round number 9. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week.